What's happening, guys? What's going on YouTube? You guys have tuned into Rules for Rebels, and today we're talking about Dr. Fauci, Dr. Fauci, whatever the fuck we call him, endorses Tinder hookups if you're willing to take the risk. Let me get this straight. When it comes to going to work, we're not able to make that decision for ourselves and take the risk. When it comes to operating our business, we're not able to make the decision for ourselves and take that risk to operate our business. When it comes to us wanting to go get a haircut, we can't take that risk. We can't go for runs. We can't go camping. I can't go to the beach, but I can fuck thoughts off of Tinder, and that's perfectly fine. This whole coronavirus thing it's gone too far. From the very start of this, I've thought that we were kind of overreacting to this. I feel like it's silly to shut down 100% of society to protect the vulnerable 10, 12, 15% of people who are either elderly or immune compromised. And the plan was never to stop everybody from getting this. The plan was to stop everybody from getting it all at once. It's really odd kind of how uneven the enforcement is. Like, there's some activities which are very high risk that we're all allowed to continue doing, but other activities that are very low risk we're told that we can't do. It's even more infuriating when we see our elected officials and politicians and people in power who place these rules, place these quarantines, place these lockdowns on us, but don't abide by them themselves. Mayor Lori Lightfoot did a public service announcement telling people you don't need to get your hair did, you don't need to get your roots done, and a week later she gets a haircut. And then when she's pressed about it during a press conference, she says that she takes her hygiene and her appearance very seriously. I highly doubt that because she always wears those clown pants that aren't hemmed. But she takes her hygiene and her appearance seriously, and she's important. She appears on national media, so she has to look good. So it's okay for her to get her hair cut. Even though if a private citizen or a barber or a hairstylist did that, they'd either be thrown in jail, have their business license taken, or be fined $1,000. De Blasio, he said, he shuts down the gyms, yet he still gets picked up by his private car and goes to the gym to work out because he doesn't feel good if he doesn't work out. So we're kind of seeing, certain activities that are high risk being allowed and other activities that are low risk not being allowed. We see the elected officials not abiding by this. And kind of, if you're one of these people who fall into the camp of we should criminally prosecute people who don't take this seriously and who don't follow the lockdown and everything else. And kind of the thought behind that is, well, you may not care about yourself or your family, but you're going to get infected and then you're going to bring it to the grocery store and me and my family are going to get it. But Dr. Fauci endorses Tinder hookups. We'll take a look at this article in a second, but he's essentially saying everybody has their own risk profile. And if you feel okay with the risk of going out and hooking up with somebody, well, go for it. We don't want you horny at home all alone. So that's okay. So I think it's really interesting how we're allowed to go fuck thoughts off Tinder, and that's perfectly okay, and it's okay for us to assess our own risk in that aspect. But when it comes to going to work, running our businesses, making money, feeding our families, when it comes to that, we're not allowed to. We're not allowed to take those risks, and especially, New York told us to quit rim jobbing each other. Obviously, if you're hooking up with somebody, you're probably kissing, you're swapping bodily fluids, something that's incredibly high risk. But somebody operating a business where they may not even come into physical contact with somebody, that's not allowed. It absolutely makes no sense. I haven't really been buying into this thing all along. I'm still sharing joints with friends. Just had a barbecue this Friday and Sunday. I'm not going to keep going along with this. And if it's going to continue to be like this uneven enforcement and these rules that make no sense, I would suggest you guys live your lives. If you got to make money, operate your business, go to work, do whatever you got to do, because at this point, this just makes absolutely no sense. Let's give this a read. Dr. Fauci endorses Tinder hookups if you're willing to take the risk. Let's see, what do we have here? Of course, that pops up. Tired of having to live your sex life online during lockdown? You're in luck. Government corona expert Dr. Anthony Fauci says that heartsick isolationists can hook up with asymptomatic Tinder matches in real life, but like love, it involves some risk. The 79-year-old immunologist dropped the unorthodox dating tip in a Tuesday interview on Snapchat's Good Luck America. Towards the end of the taped segment, Fauci was asked if you're swiping on a dating app like Tinder or Bumble or Grindr and you match with someone that you think is hot and you're just kind of like, maybe it's fine if this one stranger comes over, what do you say to that person? That's tough, replied the befuddled National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Disease infectious disease director to the curveball, because that's what's called relative risk. He then dropped the bombshell. If you're willing to take a risk, and you know, everybody has their own tolerances for risks, you could figure out if you want to meet somebody, said Fauci, who is named a candidate for People Magazine's Sexiest Man Alive award. He added, if you want to go a little more intimate, well, then that's your choice regarding risk. But don't invite every one of your Tinder matches over for a Caligula-esque orgy just yet. The unlikely dating doctor subsequently pointed out that the one thing you don't want to do is base your decision on whether the person is feeling well. If people only transmit when they felt sick, that would be much easier, he said. But what we're seeing, which becomes really problematic, is that there's a considerable amount of transmission from asymptomatic persons. Unfortunately, Fauci's advice won't prevent legions of lovebirds from getting cozy during the coronavirus, but we'll just say, I always want to stop myself from saying that word, but we'll just say it, coronavirus pandemic. In fact, many thrill-seeking New Yorkers are foregoing dating apps and going straight to Craigslist to find partners who they can literally walk out with a bang. I thought Craigslist had gotten rid of casual encounters. Okay, so it looks like that's the article. But does anybody else find it silly that if you have a barbecue, you're an asshole because you don't care about people's grandmas, and you may not care about yourself, but you're going to contract the coronavirus and you're going to go out to Trader Joe's and give it to other people? Like, you're an asshole if you have a barbecue, but you can have sex with strangers off of Tinder. And wouldn't that logic follow that if you're fucking strangers off Tinder, you're going to contract the coronavirus and you're going to wind up bringing it to Trader Joe's and giving it to somebody else, and you're an asshole because you had to get off? Like, I really don't get how the disconnect in how we can take the risk assessment to hook up with people, but we can't take those same risks on when it comes to operating our businesses, going to work, getting together with friends and family, etc. A lot of states, Michigan recently enacted a rule that said if you have a second home or a lake home, you're not allowed to go there. You're not allowed to go over to a friend's house. You're not allowed to go over to a family member's house. But at the same time, we got Dr. Fauci telling people that they can hook up with strangers off Tinder. This whole thing really makes no sense, and I won't be partaking in it anymore. And I would encourage you guys to live your lives and do what you got to do. That's my rant for the day. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. If you think I'm an asshole, give it a thumbs down. And if you're not subscribed to the channel, click that subscribe button below. Thanks for watching, guys, and we'll catch you on the next one.